What did you say?
Hey, everybody. We're broadcasting from Best Homely World, and we have Beloved here with me. And we had a few, maybe a few more technical difficulties this morning and or this afternoon or this evening, depending where you are in the world. But anyway, we are here right now.
That's awesome. Hey, beautiful. That was so perfect. That, I mean, 11:11. We finally went live at 11:11. How perfect is that? Because I would love to talk a little bit about time portals today.
Sounds awesome.
Is that good?
Awesome.
Okay, perfect. Because at the end, I would like to talk about the full moon, which is tomorrow.
Yes.
So tomorrow on Thursday in the U.S., we have full moon. So,
you know where I'm going to be tonight? I'm going to be with the Buddhist monks celebrating the Mid-Autumn Festival and about 1,000 Taiwanese people celebrating the harvest at the monastery here. And it's a very special time. So yes. And last year, I remember the moon was just coming up over like where on the road into their place. It was just coming up behind it. It was so beautiful.
Oh, how beautiful. The harvest moon.
Yes.
I always celebrate Wesak in the spring, which is, another beautiful Buddhist festival. Oh, you're going to have such good time. It's so lovely. I think it's so lovely to celebrate these things. These are what I call time portals,
Yes.
And for me, time portals are just getting back to nature and natural rhythms. Mm-hmm. Because I think that once we birthed ourselves onto planet Earth, and we birthed ourselves in this time, mm-hmm. we live our lives often by artificial timing. I mean, timing's artificial anyway, because it belongs to Earth. But when we were a farming society, when we were agriculture, when we lived indigenous ways, mm-hmm. then we lived by the natural vibrations. We rose when the sun came up. We went down when the sun went down. We got good sleep. We played, we worked, we enjoyed. Even our eating was different, big meals at noon mm-hmm. instead of at night. And I've read that our ancestors had 2 sleep cycles at night. They would go into slumber mm-hmm. when it got dark,
right.
And they would sleep for a few hours and then get up and socialize and then go back in for the rest of their rest. Huh. That's awesome. I think that's I think that's really neat. I could get up and socialize after a couple hours rest.
Well, I actually can have like little micro sleeps. So, it's like just check out for or whatever deep relaxation for 10 minutes and then I'm ready. Let's go.
That's it. Those little, I guess I call them cat naps. Just go in, refresh, come out beautifully refreshed.
So time portals, let's just make it clear here. Time portals is not beam me up, Scotty, into a new realm of possibility.
Well,
time portals is honoring the natural rhythm of the earth.
Yes, attuning to the natural rhythms of Earth, which is where we are now. Mm-hmm. Which doesn't mean at some point we don't beam me up, Scotty, but for right now we do live on Earth, but we live disassociated from nature. So many people live in city environments mm-hmm. where there are no trees, or if there are, you have to walk to the trees. These beautiful parks.
Okay, can I just say something here? Okay, just to put in perspective, because you were born awakened, but I grew up in the corporate jungle. Okay.
Yeah.
So in my late 20s, I still was unaware there were seasons to vegetables. I only knew that whatever I wanted was always in the grocery store, right? Even though my mother grew up on a farm, I was not going to be anything like that. And I was oblivious to the whole concept of rhythm. I remember saying, what do you mean there's a season? Well, I can only get strawberries for 2 weeks.
That's right. That's it. I know. And, you know, my kids who were not raised in corporate, although 2 of them are in corporate, my boys are in corporate and in finance, and my girls are in medicine. So it's really interesting the way that's split. But they grew up with grocery markets. So you can walk into a market almost all year round and find things.
Yeah.
But there are seasons. And oh my gosh, in Florida, Zellwood corn. I mean, and I was hearing with the storm, there were only 3 ears of Zellwood corn. But, and in Asheville, of course, we have tailgates. And being in Europe, which is my favorite thing, there are fresh markets 3 times a week in all of the little towns. So you go and you pick and you choose. So yes, there are seasons.
Yeah. That's like here in Prince Edward Island. It is basically to a large extent of farming, and fishing. So very much in the natural rhythms. And this is the time that I love, and this is why I want to have a retreat here next year in September, because everything is in harvest, and the fields are, in some cases full grown, and the sunflowers and the potatoes are being pulled, and it's just a bounty of wonderful blessings. It's a perfect time portal.
Oh, it's a perfect time. Perfect time. I'd like to go to that retreat. It sounds wonderful. You ever notice when you eat things in season and when you eat them fresh like that, there's a different taste. Like going out to the garden and picking something right from the earth and then eating. Oh my goodness. So we've lost quite a bit of that as we've grown and as we've industrialized. And industrialization has also brought some fabulous things. But some of it has removed us from our natural rhythms.
Right.
So I love that you honor that, I mean, we just participated with you in your wonderful event for the equinox. You honor the quarters, the solstices, the equinoxes. And I'm very big on honoring the quarters also. And for me, time portals, I call them time portals because it's more than just a day. For me, a time portal of a season or of the moon is 3 days up, and then the day of the event, and then 3 days down. So for me, those are energetic portals. For me, those are wonderful times to take stock. Okay, we're transitioning now. That's a really, really big deal. We're leaving one season. We've just come in. I'm in the U.S. and North America, so we've just come into fall. Our brothers and sisters south of the equator have just come into spring. So I always use that as part of the journey to awakening, coming back in and becoming aware and kind of closing out one timing, celebrating the new. What do I want to take forward? What am I complete with? Yeah, for me, it's a beautiful way of connection. It's just a lovely way of connection.
I think you've said that really wonderfully, beloved, that it's a closing down and an opening, and it happens simultaneously. So for some people, it might be as simple as like a door opens and a door shuts. They're as clean cut as that. They're finished. But for a lot of us, it's like we know there's still some things left to do, right? We might have started to rearrange a room, but we still haven't found the drapes, or we haven't sorted through an area, but yet we're on to a new project. And sometimes it's in the newness that we're able to finish the old. It doesn't have to be just a simple draw the line, close the door, we're done, we're on to the next thing, does it?
No, I don't think it does. You know, there's a flow to it, but there's also a thing about, I want to talk a little bit about the moons, and particularly the full moon that we're coming into. Mm-hmm. For me, I believe that we are energetic, I like to say chalice, that my physical being is a chalice that holds my energies. So if I'm filled to the brim, there's no room for new things to come in. We have
so a chalice is like a big wine goblet, right?
What?
I'm just thinking some people may not know what a chalice is. So it's like looking like a big wine goblet in that sense. Yes. Yeah.
Or you could say a cup.
Right.
You know, or a bowl. So for us to have wonderful new things come in, we have to make space. Mm-hmm. And so I like making space by surrendering things. And I use the word surrender rather than release. Right. Sometimes I use release, but for me, surrender is soft. It's a natural letting go. It's like in autumn, that last leaf on the tree. When it's time for that leaf to come off the tree, it's not a release. Release this, right? It's a gentle, natural allowing, a surrendering. So
that is so okay. This is really good for people because for me, surrender used to mean giving up, like, right? Like you're surrendering. There goes, I give up, right? And it was a feeling that I was like a victim by surrendering. And a release was just let it go, baby.
There you go.
So it's important why I just share that is because I love the way you define. I'm now envisioning, I want you to repeat again what surrender is, because I think it's very relevant for each viewer to know what that word means to them and how they feel it, because only identify with the word that makes you feel like you're in alignment with the time portal.
Yes, and that was a wonderful way to bring that about, Jacqueline. So for me, surrender is just about letting go easily. It's about allowing. It's about allowing. There's nothing harsh about it. You know, take your hand for a moment and close your fingers, close your fist. And now imagine releasing something. For me, if I'm releasing something, I'm releasing it, right? My fingers are flowing open and I'm releasing it. Mm-hmm. But if I'm surrendering, for me, I'm just letting go. I'm just gently opening and letting go. So, yeah, that for me, that's surrender rather than release. And again, it's about creating space. We are spacious beings. You know, we have room. But sometimes we clutter ourselves and we hold on to things. You know, I'm really big on cord cutting. Even if I'm in a session with someone, at the end, I call in Archangel Michael and we cut cords. Because when two people are together or a group is together and you're enjoying one another or you're creating, then you've created cords. And that doesn't mean anything harsh. It just means that we each need our own energy back to get done what we came here to do.
Right.
So in some way, the surrendering is letting go in that way. So when it comes to the moons, and tomorrow we come into a full moon, when it comes to the moon cycles, the way I honor them or celebrate them is the full moon is a period of time. And again, the time portal for the full moon is 3 days up, the day of lunation, and 3 days down. So you have that whole week in there. But for me, what I do on the full moon is I surrender. And I surrender things that I'm complete with. Maybe a project that I finished. Okay, I don't need to take that forward. It's done. So I surrender, and always in gratitude. I surrender relationships that are complete. You know, that's a big one that people hold on to. I mean, so many people I see when I work with people and we're doing our spiritual masterminding, so many people are still holding on to relationships that they have been out of for 10 years or 3 years or 2 months or whatever, because the surrendering, the completion never took place. Right. It's like, okay, we're not seeing each other anymore, but there's so much more to completion. So the full moon is time for that. It's time for surrendering relationships, time for surrendering projects, time for surrendering blocks. You know, what do you think is keeping you from the next thing, the next deliciousness that you're bringing in? So I do ceremony, a full moon ceremony. And I do that each month. And it's a wonderful way of, it's just a wonderful way of creating that space. As I surrender, I have more space for the things I'm creating to come in. They're not going to come into my full cup. You know, where are they going to go? I mean, we may have abundance flowing in, but if we don't have room, where is it going to go? So for me, it's about emptying the chalice, emptying the cup. And I do it with the burning ceremony. Okay. A burning pot where I write down what I'm surrendering. And of course, giving gratitude and calling in, you know, my guides, my teachers, all of that. And then I burn it. When I lead ceremonies in person, I'll use a twig, and I'll invite people, if it's during the day on a retreat, to go find a small twig. And then we'll hold it to our heart. Put everything in there. And then burn it. And then, of course, take the ash and put the ash out of doors someplace. Let it go back earth to earth. But it's just such a wonderful way of becoming aware and of doing something consciously. It's such a beautiful, beautiful way to do that. And I actually have a freebie for people.
Awesome.
And that is, I have an ebook that I just put up of my full moon ceremony.
Oh, beautiful. So you're going to put the link in the comments below.
I can absolutely do that. Yes.
Or can they get it on your website?
They can get it on my website. Just go to katecom.com. And
katecom.com or katebeloved.com?
I'm sorry, Kate Beloved. Wow. I guess I need to release that. Katecom was the first, that was my communications company for PR and advertising. And that was my very first website, and my very first name was Katecom. And all of my shows were done under Katecom. Oh, is that funny? Well, I have one more thing I would like to surrender tomorrow, please. Or else maybe it's coming back.
Well, you know, before
katebeloved.com
on the freebie is, if you could just maybe share, because you brought up the fact that sometimes when you're working with people, they're still holding on to relationships. Okay. Yeah. So knowing that there are people out there listening that I'm most definitely sure they're holding on to a relationship. Is there something other that they need to do to let that go tomorrow than versus just feeling they're going to let it go?
I have a way of working with people to do that. And if we have a few minutes, I'd be glad to walk y'all through it.
I think that would be really awesome. I'm feeling that there's somebody watching that really needs to hear this.
Okay, that would be wonderful. It's the way I cut cords.
Okay.
Okay. So if you're not driving or working heavy equipment, then I invite you to close your eyes. And just bring into your mind someone that you are now complete with. Someone that you have been in relationship with. And most people go right to romance, but it doesn't have to be romantic. And I would like you to imagine that person in front of you. Visualize them if you can. And then I would ask you if you're really ready to surrender. And now, I invite you to speak to that one. Feel your heart open and speak from your heart whatever you have left to say. And just take a few moments speaking from the heart. Just say whatever it is that you have to say to that person, and always speak it out loud. When we speak out loud, we're giving life to the words. Okay, it's very different than just thinking them. So speak from your heart. And now I always call in Archangel Michael. That's the angel of courage and of strength to be with us as you're surrendering. So now, as you're looking at this person in front of you, I'm inviting you to give gratitude for their space in your life. Even if it seems really out of your comfort zone, give gratitude for whatever it was that occurred, that happened for you when you were together. Thank you so much for being in my life. I learned so much. The time that we spent together, I want to remember the joys. And I thank you for your sharing yourself with me. Whatever is there for you. And just take a few moments. And then we add to that forgiveness. And this can be really hard for people. When I invite you to forgive, that's not saying that whatever happened is, oh, it's okay. It happened. That's not what I'm saying. When we hold on to things without forgiving, we trap ourselves. So, along with the gratitude, I'm inviting you to forgive. I forgive the things that occurred between us. I forgive the angry words. I forgive anything that I also did. I forgive anything I might have said. I ask you to forgive me for that. I forgive you for things that you may have done that you weren't even aware bothered me, etc. Fill in your own words, okay?
Right.
But it's forgiving the other person and forgiving yourself. And then I now surrender you and our relationship in love and blessings. I wish you only the highest and best. I surrender you in love and blessings. You no longer have any hold on me.
Mm-hmm.
And when you feel that's done, then just take a nice deep breath. Om, peace, and amen.
I feel like that healing was much more than just an individual to an individual in a relationship. I feel that it is a healing that needed to be done on a much greater relationship issue that's going on in the world right now. So thank you for doing that. I really felt a huge shift.
Oh, I'm so glad. I could feel it too.
Yeah.
You know, I can feel it. That whole process of surrendering, forgiveness, and speaking is so, so important. It's just an important thing. And when I do this with clients, I do it with Michael, and then we're doing your energy field, and I'm checking, and it's so neat because you can tell.
Yeah.
I constantly ask the person I'm working with, okay, how does that feel now? How does that feel now? How does that feel now? And sometimes we'll go back several times and several times and several times until it's done. And then, of course, we fill in that place because it's an empty space now.
Right.
So then we fill it back in.
With good energy.
Yeah, it's important. And it's important, now to be doing things like that. And full moon is a great time to do that. So it's about, surrendering all of those things that we used to hold ourselves. Because in my belief, no one else can hold me.
No.
People hold on to things so long. I mean, leaving a job is a big one for people too. That's another relationship, isn't it?
Right.
Oh my God, I changed
Some it's their identity.
job. Yeah, the whole identity. And right now, oh my goodness, with so many people awakening, there's a lot that's going on in families. It's like, oh my goodness, or leaving friendships where someone doesn't understand. There just aren't things in common anymore. Leaving relationships doesn't have to be a hard thing. It doesn't have to be harsh, but when it continues to hold on, and this way, you're surrendering in with blessings, and yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful technique to do that.
And it's my experience when I surrender. Okay, when I go with what I feel is in the highest and best good, that I'm being led, that I trust and believe that everything is working out fine.
Yes.
I feel free and ease and movement moving forward. When I would in the past want to hold on to a relationship or a job or an idea of something, an idea of how something should be.
Yes.
It's like this, and the energy is kind of like, you're working through it, you're struggling, you're suffering, you're saying, oh, I still got to deal with an inner child pattern, it's an ancestor pattern, it's something you're working at versus just surrendering, letting it go, and turning to allow your light to shine.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, it's so nice when we do that. And then when we also use the helpers that we have, our guides, our teachers. And again, with full moon, we have Luna, and we have Luna in her Aries energies. So when we learn to work with the energies that are there, the cosmic energies. So for example, tomorrow, full moon. Okay, if we look at the angel numbers at the numerology, we've got this month, which is October, and that's 10. Okay, and 10 is about keeping thoughts positive. So for this whole month, regardless of what's going on around you, understanding how much our thoughts impact not only us, but the world, our community, our friends, our family. So keeping those positive, and what we're liking, what we're wanting, what makes us feel loving, feel joyful, staying out of those other energies, staying out of fear and lack, but moving into keeping our thoughts. And when we find ourselves doubting, 10 is reminding us that it's a great time to call on God, if that's your belief. Call your angels, call your guides, call your teachers. Remember, we came in here with the whole support system. We didn't come in here alone. We have a council. We have so many helpers. So that's the energy of October all month. So we have every day to come back and be in that space. And then tomorrow is the 5th. And 5 is about change.
Yes.
It's about shifting. It's about transformation. And what year are we in? 2017. We're in a 1 year. And what is that? Oh my God, that's a year of unity. It's connection. It's being one and understanding, hey, we're all connected. We're all one. So that's the vibration tomorrow. And then, of course, we have the vibration of Aries. And Aries is fire, and Aries is action. So here we have this full moon portal that's in a time of keeping our thoughts where we want them, of acknowledging shifts and changes and unity, and that we're all one, and we come into the sign of action. How cool is that? So Luna, when she's cloaked in Aries, is bringing us that fire.
Yay!
Yay, we can cook. And then of course, I'm all about the angel vibrations, and I also like the major arcana. So the archangel for Aries is Ariel. How cool is that? And Ariel is my primary guide and touchstone. So the major arcana card, can you see this?
Yes.
For this full moon is strength. It's Archangel Ariel bringing us, absolutely bringing us strength.
Power.
Yes. So.
To take action in a unified, very transformative way, because
yes.
It's all about letting go and being strong enough to move forward as one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And knowing that we impact one another.
Yeah.
You know, what we do, what we say, we impact one another. So how beautiful is that?
It's extraordinary, and beloved, that's why I feel like if it's just you and me, you know, if it seems like that the conversation and the energy that's put forth in this conversation is out there in the universe transmuting lower vibrational density. And that is the objective here. The more we share about the truth of being awakened,
yes.
right, then it's easier for others to journey to awakening.
So much easier, so much easier. And one reason you're offering these programs, I mean, you're right. They continue to go and go and go and go, and it continues to gather and to gather and to gather and to gather exponentially.
Yes.
Yes. It's very, very incredibly fabulous.
And you and I could be just in this fabulous, awesome, connected mode continually, because that's what happens when you awake to the real world of possibility. And that's why we're having these conversations, so beloved can share this journey to awakening. And we hope that you know, participate in a full moon ceremony for yourself tomorrow, or maybe there's a group near you that's doing one, or just tap in back to this recording and follow along like we're there with you. There's all kinds of options. And leave a comment below and let us know what you liked about what we shared and what you'd like to see more of, or questions that you have in the weeks to come.
Yes. And remember, if you would like a copy of my ebook, Full Moon Ceremony, there are simple to follow instructions in there, so you can do it yourself, and I'm offering it to you as a gift. You can find it on my website, katebeloved.com.
Yay!
So I hope you'll go download it and go look at it, and remember, even if you don't do it tomorrow, you still have another 3 days, because it's 3 days up, it's a day of lunation, and 3 days down.
And remember, that full moon is visible everywhere. And so just know that we're all one, connected in that sense of when you acknowledge the presence of Luna.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you so much for being here, even with all our technical difficulties in the beginning.
My goodness.
It was awesome. And it was well worth the conversation. And I'm so very, very grateful that you took the time.
Thank you. I'm so grateful that you have me, that I get to be your guest. Thank you.
KateBeloved.com. Go get your ebook now on the full moon.
Yes, for the full moon. Bye, sweetie.
Bye.